Good morning, everybody. Sorry for the delay. It is Wednesday, June 11th, and I am calling to order the Advisory Committee of the Marine and Environmental Resources Task Force for the town of Fort Myers Beach. Let's all rise and give a pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Okay, and with that, I'll establish a quorum with the roll call. Bill Altoff and Sharon Hagstrom and Robert Howell have all asked to be excused. So, Ed Rude?
Here.
Jennifer Rusk?
Here.
Leo Sand?
Here.
And David Nussbaum is here. That's a quorum. So we do have a legal meeting. And with that, I will accept a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
So moved. Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Is there a discussion? Hearing none. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. With that, I'll accept a motion to approve the minutes from our previous meeting.
I'll make the motion. Second.
Motion's made and seconded to approve the minutes from our previous meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everybody. Moving right along. Next on the agenda is public comment. Would anyone like to make a public comment? I see we have a plethora of people in the audience.
I'll do a quick one.
Please give your name and.
Yes, Michael Thornton, 21541 Madeira Road. In the April meeting, the board recommended that the town council research funding mechanisms to dredge canals. And I was just wondering if any progress had been made on that. And if no one's sure, maybe at the next meeting, maybe August, we can get an update.
Okay.
It was just discussed at the last town council meeting on June, and staff is still doing research on trying to
Okay.
find the funding for it.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, seeing none, I will close public comment. Thank you for everyone. All right, let's get down. Current items. The first one on the list is the Mulholland Award, and I have to go to our counselor for this. Mr. King, we ran into a little bit of a roadblock on trying to, I guess, institute the Mulholland Award when it was originally set up to be done only in the spring of the year. So when I said we were going to put the
Take one.
when I said we were going to put the invitation out for the residents to nominate someone for the award, someone at the meeting, I can't remember what it was, I believe it was the attorney that said, we had to get clearance from the council to bend the rules to open it up. The MERTF committee, as I read it, has been the sponsorship of sending the nomination papers out, and we're all a little busy the last couple of years trying to get everything back together, but I sincerely believe we should get the Mulholland Award out. So if we could ask you to bring it up to your fellow counselors at the next meeting to see if we can bend the rules to get the Mulholland Award.
I'll be glad to do it on the
Nominations.
16th.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then once that's done, we will proceed with the nomination papers going out through the town staff.
Take one pass.
Take one, pass it down.
Chair?
Yes.
Can we have discussion on this?
Sure.
Okay, great. May I start?
go ahead.
I do have a nomination for someone, for the Mulholland Award that lives in the community, and I'm passing out my letter that I'm gonna share with all the community members, organizations, town council, in my opinion. So if I may, can I read my letter?
The nominations aren't open yet, but
I understand, I just, if we're looking to the public for input, this would be my, in my opinion, someone that would be good. So if I may, read my letter. Dear
Does
Marine
anyone-
Environmental Resource Task Force members and council members, with regards to the Mulholland Award, my nomination, is for Miss Ellen Vaughn. And here is why. Ms. Vaughn has been a pillar of the community for many years. In addition to her commitment to the community, she is committed to the protection of our environment and supports numerous environmental organizations. Ms. Vaughn understands the Mulholland Award and the meaning of it. She understands that we must support and protect our water quality, our upland areas, our beach and bay, so we can continue to promote our community and economy. My hope is that the Estero Island, with the help of people like Ms. Vaughn, will continue to thrive on a healthy barrier island. Ms. Vaughn's contributions to the environment and community are Friends of Mound House, FMB Historical Society, the Art Association, Women's Club, Fort Myers Beach Community Foundation, docent of Mound House, president of Friends of Mound House, appointee of CELCAB, advisory of the FMB Town Council, promotes clean water, supports Captains for Clean Water, advocates for water testing in the Back Bay at Mound House. I have no doubt I'm leaving something out, but you get my sentiment. This lady cares, and she is not alone. So many of our island so many on our island go above and beyond for our community. While visiting Mound House years ago and seeing her waving with a warm smile and teaching me about all the things our island has to offer historically and environmentally is worthy of a gold leaf in my heart. Please consider my nomination. Sincerely, Jennifer Rusk, and I understand that we're not doing nominations, but I just wanted to get that out to the public. That's
Okay.
my opinion.
that would be, and thank you for the example. We don't even know if we can have the nomination papers out yet.
Sure.
But that would be a classic example, and it would have to be, I guess, submitted on the nomination papers, because that's the way it is, but I appreciate you taking the time and identifying your nomination. And hopefully, if the council approves, we can have the nomination papers go out and have numerous people to select from. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any other discussion on that before we move on? Thank you. Chad, hazardous waste disposal.
Yes, sir. So I have found the person in Lee County that can help us, that's done the programs in the past, but still waiting on a call back, but making progress.
Okay. Once again, I firmly believe with all of the construction going on that it is almost imperative on the island that we have numerous dates that we can get rid of primarily paint and other hazardous material so it doesn't collect on the island and hopefully not end up in the watershed or on vacant lots or wherever people have a tendency to do this. They are well used when they're set up, and if we can promote the date, it can be a phenomenal benefit to everybody on the island.
Yes, sir. I agree. My understanding is they get a contractor in, I think it's MXI or something to that effect, and they will come and collect and bring it to a hazardous waste facility. I think they said Virginia, which was kind of crazy to me, but I'm not sure what kind of criteria that is that fits that to ship it that far, but it's quite the operation.
Okay. And again, if there's a cost involved to the town or something, perhaps we can see if we can get some of the contractors on the island to help pay for the cost and
Good idea.
offset it. and put that out to the contractors and say, look, this is beneficial for everyone. Just my thoughts. Does anybody else have any question or discussion on that?
Can you enlighten me on what you guys were talking about?
Okay, sure. There is always leftover paint, always leftover primer, always leftover hazardous materials, lacquer, whatever it is, on any project. And what a lot of people do is they have a half-finished paint can, and they say, well, we'll give it to the owner in case they need to do a touch-up. Well, I would venture to say, hundreds of paint cans throughout the island, in people's garages, wherever, that are just sitting there. And after a while, the cans rust, they get bad, so on and so forth. And a hazardous waste dump allows people to come in at no charge, empty the can. Now, you can do it, people buy cat litter and soak it up and then put it in the dumpster and everything else. But if you've got a disposal area where people can come and do it, it takes a lot of it just out of the environment and does it in a way that stops it from getting into the empty lots, the busted cans. People have a tendency to go buy a construction dumpster and throw a paint can in. Leo, you can attest to that, I'm sure.
I've never done that, but I've seen it happen.
So that's the whole purpose, that's the whole purpose. And I just think with all of the construction going on the island, and it's gonna be going on for another 2 or 3 years, that we try and have a routine, either quarterly or twice a year, have someone come in and try and remove this, and that was the whole idea behind it.
What an amazing idea. So basically having someone come to the town and people can drop things off?
Yeah, dump their paint cans.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happens, Jennifer, is people paint, like Dave said, there's paint left over. Rather than storing it in their unit, they put it down on first floor in a storage locker.
Oh, in the condo?
Yeah, and then basically, or in a garage, and when the storm comes through, those paint cans end up in the
Wow.
back bay.
Yeah. Wow. What a great idea.
Thank you.
What a fantastic idea.
That's just a pretty face. Okay.
Whoa.
Okay, but there's a little bit of levity here on a Wednesday. All right, any other discussion on that before we move on? Okay, thank you. Beach Renourishment Project.
Yes, so we are out of the south segment. They have tilled that area, and we got a sea turtle nest the very next day. It's amazing how once they till that area, the turtles are in there. Currently, we're staging at the Dakota access and occupying that area as a construction zone and pumping towards Lanark, which is the southern limit for the central segment. So they'll extend out to Lanark, and then once they pump that beach, they will break back to approximately Sterling and occupy that area, that beach access, and use that as a construction zone, pump to where they left off, and then break back to probably the Connecticut beach access area and pump the rest of the central beach. We have about 150,000 cubic yards to go, so we're definitely in the home stretch. Steady as she goes.
And I read, Chad, that the June 30th is kind of the target for completion.
Right, that is the schedule that we've received from the contractor. Nothing's changed, so we're hopeful that'll happen, and we'll see how productivity goes.
Well, where it's been completed, the beaches look fantastic.
Yep, that borough area has great quality sand. I'm really happy with it, and it's pumped on there and goes on there wet, so it's a little bit, hopefully a little bit more sticky and stays with us as we get these go through storm season.
How is the FEMA provided vegetation coming along? How is that? What is the schedule and how's that working?
Yeah, so great news. We opened up the bids. One of the contractors that's more reputable and able to handle such a big planting project was the only bidder there. It came in around $509,000. We had budgeted, I believe, $392,000 for the baseline project, plus FEMA with the hazard mitigation program gave us, I think, $200,000 more or less for more mature plants on the north end, because that was the previously engineered beach, and that's where that FEMA grant funding applies to. So we're within budget and going to be bringing that to town council for approval to award that contract on the 16th, and we are hopeful that they will start planting as soon as possible.
One more question, Chad. As we're approaching the storm season now, some of the concerns that I myself have, but I also have heard from a few of the neighbors down there, not so much Milton. Milton overwashed the berm, but Helene did not overwash the berm.
Mhm.
But yet we had several houses in our neighborhood that got water in the bottoms of their dwellings. So I'm assuming, and my reasoning to them was, do we have areas down on the south end where the berm was people that didn't allow you to do it, or the water obviously didn't come over the berm, so it had to have went around it somewhere?
Well, so water is the ultimate level, and you put a wall on one side, it doesn't mean it can't come from behind. You have the canals and the bay behind you, where
Right.
the water level is going to come up as high as the water level is going to come up. The main purpose of that berm, in addition to holding back water, is to stop that wave action. So
Cut down on the wave
even
action.
if the water, rises behind it, it's still
Right.
dissipating that wave energy in front of you, which can cause significant damage.
Oh,
to
well,
your
then that
structures.
answers my question, because the neighbors were asking, well, how can people not stop, how can they stop the town or FEMA from putting the berm, and why is there gaps in it? Well, what you're saying is it doesn't really matter one way or the other.
Well, I don't wanna say it doesn't matter, in terms of, mitigating impacts and mitigating damage to y'all's
Yeah, no, I
houses.
get that, yeah.
And I don't think there was much of a gap, from Island's End all the way down the 7,000 block, all the way to the Wyndham. I think we had a pretty steady, berm, in place there, and there wasn't any gaps on that end.
Okay.
But again, the water's the ultimate level, so it's coming up,
Yeah,
unless we have a watertight wall
yeah, all
around this
around. No, I
entire
get that.
island, we're not gonna prevent that increase in water
And,
level.
and Ed, I do believe that Helene did top the berms, because when I was at Island's End, it was coming into our parking lot. But to Chad's point as well, it was also coming up from the bay. Estrelita was getting flooded as well,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, well, I had it on video. I wasn't there, but I didn't lose power, and I had it on video. And in our little section there, the water was below the top of the berm on the other side, but it quickly started filling in. Came from somewhere, obviously, 'cause
Yeah.
it started filling in everywhere.
It's crazy. I mean, even during floods, you can have something that's completely watertight, and all of a sudden groundwater's coming out of the pipe and flood your
Right,
structure.
yeah,
So
yeah. Okay.
water finds the tiniest crack, and
Well, that helps me explain it, when I'm asked about it, it gives me a little better understanding.
water is tough.
Yeah, it is. Okay, any other questions on Chad or the beach renourishment before we move on?
Yeah, I know there's been some questions on budgeting and costs to the town. I don't have exact figures on how much we paid the contractor to date, somewhere around $13 or $15 million. That entire expense, the town has not had to match a significant portion of that, so that's all come from the state hurricane recovery fund, as well as the state paid for the construction 100% of the south end. So we're only now just going to be tapping into what the town has budgeted for the construction cost of the project. So we've been able to of save money save money through the use of all these grants. Big thank you to the state for all of the grant funding, and as well as FEMA for hopefully reimbursing us for that North Estero project that we did post Helene. So just an update. I know there's a lot of budgetary concerns about the cost to the town for this sand project. It's been very minimal to date. We will have some portion that we are going to be liable for, but it's much less than what was expected. And again, I encourage anyone who's interested in the economics of beach renourishment to read Jane Houston's papers on the economics of beach renourishment and the return on investment that has been observed over the years with different beach renourishment projects.
Okay. Any other questions?
Whisker party on the 1st?
Yes, sir.
Clean shaven?
Shears.
Clean shaven? Clean
So
shaven
is
Chad?
that when they're gonna be done
Theoretically,
on
The 30th,
fingers crossed.
what date?
June 30th.
June 30th. Pipes, everything gone.
Fingers crossed.
Have they asked for another extension?
Not yet.
Okay.
Okay. All right, thank you, everybody. Next item on the agenda is the wave attenuation wall, and just to preface this, Mayor Allers was on he gives a show every Sunday on Beach Talk Radio, and was talking to a coastal engineer, and they were discussing pretty much trying to implement a continuous wave mitigation or attenuation wall throughout the island, and she has, I believe, been in front of council before, Councilor King,
Yes.
and it was a very enlightening show. She discussed what the cost was. I believe it was, I don't know, $1,000 a linear foot, but it made a lot of sense in a lot of areas throughout the island, and I thought if everyone was kind of in the same frame of mind, is if we could invite her to come in and give us a little description. We've already had the professor from Florida Gulf Coast come in and discuss pretty much the same thing, in having something close to the vegetation line that would help knock some of the force of the waves down. And if we could have a wall such as that went around the island, it certainly isn't designed to block the water, you know, because water's gonna find ways to get through and come around and through, but it can literally turn around and knock some of the force off. The condo buildings on the south end actually act as a wave attenuation wall. You've got some of them that are, you know, fairly high and are standing after a storm and do a pretty good job knocking the force of the waves down just with the sheer magnitude of the buildings down there. But there's also gaps between the buildings, and I think it would help the entire island, but specifically the south end and probably areas all the way around the island, if we had something facing the Gulf that could knock it out, and that's just my thoughts on it.
And I've printed these off for everyone. It's FWC's Living Shorelines. I'm not sure if any of you have read this, but I think it would be important to look at it, read it, and get your opinions on it. It's a lot of good information.
Certainly, and certainly the mayor is looking at, he's very active, is very interested as far as driving this point home. And if we could ask her to come in and address the group, I think we could add our support to what Mayor Allers is trying to get done.
And who is this person with?
I had her name written down, and that's the one piece of paper I
Elizabeth
didn't bring
Fountain?
here.
Elizabeth Fountain
Yes,
or J.R. Evans?
yes.
J.R. Evans? And is this a business?
It's an
Engineering.
company.
Engineering company? J.R. what?
Evans,
Evans.
E-V-A-N-S.
So that was kind of my thought, that we'd listen to her perspective on it. And I don't know, did you get a chance to watch the broadcast, Chad, or not?
Yes. I don't know if I made it all the way to the end, but it's a, you know, just a reiteration of previous presentations that she's given.
Right. Well, it's the first time I had seen her at all, and I was very impressed with, you know, the scope of what she was discussing and how it could be applied throughout the island, and be effective and not intrusive to a lot of properties, but act as a first line of defense on mild and even medium-sized storms. Now, nothing was gonna stop Ian from coming in unless we had 20-foot walls all the way around the island. Even then, I don't think that would've worked, but.
But again, think of it like a coral reef that's offshore and you see the waves breaking out there. By the time they get, you know, to the beach or the shoreline, you know, it's nothing much because the waves have been broken way out there. Same thing if you have that surge level, even if it's above the wall, you have a place where those waves are gonna
Right.
be broken and again,
Exactly.
attenuate their energy.
And walls can break too and be very expensive to replace.
Well, there,
I've seen
There
it
was-
in
there was-
Hurricane Sandy. I've seen the walls broken and very, very expensive to replace. I also, was this up for discussion at the last meeting that I couldn't make?
no, it was something that, I saw on the thing, and when Chad and I were putting the agenda together, I said, I'd like to bring it up in front of everyone and get their thoughts on it.
Can
And to
you-
Jennifer's point, I think it's important that, that's why we're getting an engineer involved, so it's engineered for the forces that it's going to be exposed to. I think there's lessons learned, for instance, whenever we had those J walls in front of the, Times Square, and just putting up walls just to have them there is not always, gonna be a, proper solution.
Correct.
We need an engineered solution that's going to do the job properly.
Correct.
Wouldn't that be the dunes? Isn't that
Of course, yes.
ultimately what we're trying to get at, is a natural living beach?
Yeah, my opinion is that as environmental staff encouraging, you know, a combination of gray and green solutions. Picture the, you know, if you had an attenuation wall and you had obviously the seaward side of that wall and putting in dune vegetation to not only stabilize the sand there, but also build it up so you have a sandbank in front of that wall where it would scour if we had, so have as much sand in front of there that's stabilized in front of that wall to mitigate those bigger storm issues with scouring.
Would this wall be up to the taxpayers of Fort Myers Beach to pay for?
I'm not sure how we're gonna be funding that right now, it's not my purview.
How many feet would we have to build?
Well, if you did 7,000, was it 5,280 miles, or feet in a mile?
Yeah,
So 7 times that for rough math, 35,000, 3.5 million. I don't know, that's very quick math, I don't know
and
if I did it right.
some of it'd be on private
Did I do it
property,
right?
Leo, and.
Some of
yeah,
it?
That's close.
I think it's 35 million,
35 million?
yeah,
Okay,
at 1,000 a linear foot.
yep.
So it would, some of it would be on private property, or most of it would be on private property?
I would think all of it would be on private property.
Correct.
Putting it out into the, beyond the ECL, you're going to, and I, again, I'm gonna caveat this, I'm not an engineer, but just how the placement of the emergency berm, whenever we went through that exercise, the engineer encouraged us to put it as close to the structures as possible to offer maximum benefit, because the further out you put it, the more exposed it is, maybe less in elevation, and not dissipating the energy closer to the structure. So it's already taking a beating further out. The scouring's gonna happen sooner than maybe you'd like it, and I imagine they're gonna be putting it closer to our structures rather than further. So anything landward of that ECL, erosion control line, would be private property.
I would think that would be very difficult to get these owners to participate.
You know, it's beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I've already had some that did not want to participate in the beach project that have already written emails that I forwarded to the clerk saying that they're in full support of this. So F&B people never cease to surprise me.
I would also, what about also eminent domain?
I'm not well versed in that. I don't think that's really popular these days.
No.
Several things, Jennifer. Number one, I think, at least speaking for our association and some of the other condos on the south end, I don't think having a wave mitigation wall at the
Yes.
close to the building would be something that we would, I think we would support something like that.
Well, couldn't you do that on your own?
Well, of course we can. The problem is, there are ordinances in the town that prohibit any wall facing the Gulf of Mexico to be built.
Right, and that would be through FWC and FDAP, correct?
The one,
No?
No, I mean, the town variances would be through our town council.
Town council.
I mean, there's ordinances on the book right now that prohibit anyone from putting a wall in, even if we wanted to.
We would need to get approval through FDAP and FWC.
Of course you would. You know, and
How do
some-
you think they would,
I think they've been very open to putting wave mitigation walls in and barrier walls in.
I mean, even in this packet that you handed out, they have some gray solutions. The bulkhead is basically an attenuation wall.
So, again, it's just, I think it's an option, you know, for a lot of the property owners. There's gaps between, as I said, there's gaps between the numerous condominium buildings on the south end of the island that encourage scouring to go through, and having an extension of a wall that goes through between the buildings would knock some of that scouring down and prevent it. You're not gonna prevent all of it, but I think, at least speaking on behalf of our property and talking to some of the other neighbors on the 6,000 block, I think having that type of wall going through it, the vegetation line, would be something. Now, cost is cost, and, you know, we'd have to look at it, but if there's a benefit for protection of the buildings and the property, I think that's something that I can go back and talk to our owners with, and I'm sure every other timeshare, condominium, and hotel can go back and look at it on the south end of the island and make their own determination.
And a couple of the benefits are, it would lower flood insurance premiums, probably.
Exactly.
And in Times Square, it would have, a wave mitigation wall would have changed the velocity zone from a VE down to an A, I believe, is what I recall, but I could be wrong. And that would be a big help in, it would have saved a lot of Times Square, at least rebuilding and the efforts there.
So, it's something that, you know, I saw that Mayor Ehlers was extremely interested in it, and after watching the broadcast, and he was the one that brought it up, he wanted to do it, and he talked to, on a couple of meetings ago, I think it was the April or February meeting, he wanted us to look at the Clearwater system in Florida that had walkways and walls through there, and we kinda didn't pursue that as a committee, and watching her on the show Sunday, I thought there was something that should discuss, and if she is willing to come in and address us, I thought it would be a great addition and just give us the information on it.
I'll make a motion to invite Elizabeth Fontaine from J.R. Evans to a future meeting.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay. Made and seconded on the motion to invite her. Is there any further discussion on it? Okay. I'll see if we can get it done. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Oppose?
Okay, thank you. It would probably work better if the invitation came from you, Chad, don't you think?
Yes, sir, I can reach out.
Thank you. That would be wonderful. And then please keep us advised. Okay. That takes us to the end of our agenda, and now we're at members' items. Jennifer,
Yes. Caught me off guard.
I can start at the other
Going
end.
very quick. Well, if I remember, how are the plants going, Chad, with, on Estero Boulevard? The trees? What's going on there?
I can ask, Jeff, he's in charge of Public Works, and see where he's at.
How, with the, you received the grant to replace the trees, and what kind of trees are they gonna be?
For that grant, it'd be native trees.
Native? What kind? Do you know? Has
I
that
mean, my
been-
preference, depends on where we're talking about, but I think we've already discussed, so, like on Waste and Away, we placed in the sea grapes that were in the original plan. Nice sea grape trees, they had great specimens there before Ian, so it'd be great to get, some nice, sea grape trees that we can, bonsai out and make a nice shade. Up on the north side, the plan is for the Royal Palms. I believe that's still the plan.
I heard that they decided to change that.
Yeah, again, that's why I would rather lean on Jeff and see what their plans are.
Okay. Do you have a time frame of when they're gonna be planted? No.
I do not, I can ask Jeff.
And the second thing I have is we did receive a MERF $4,000 contribution from the Community Foundation to go towards printing another round of the Children's Flippers and Feathers Books Forever. So very exciting. I received 3 quotes. For 10,000, it would be 4,700, about 4,800. For 12,000, it would be roughly about over 5,500, and for 15,000, it would be about $7,500 dollars to reprint. So we have, I believe, $4,500 in our budget, and so we are short. And I'm trying really hard to see if anyone out there could help us supplement to get at least 10,000 printed. And a few things that would be changed in the book is that on the back of the book, and I don't know if I believe they moved them to the other town hall, so I didn't bring a book. But on the back, it has special thanks to MERF members, and then special thanks to Crow, to the Community Foundation, to Turtle Time, and to a few other people. And I think it would be best to actually put the logo, and one would be a logo of Mound House, which I already received, with a QR code, so parents and kids can take their phones and go right to the town with the QR code, along with Turtle Time's QR code and logo, and Community Foundation and Crow's logo as well. And I have all the logos, and I have all the QR codes, and I spoke with the illustrator, Macy Knoll, and to do those changes would cost roughly about $130, so that would be an addition to getting our first books printed. So if anyone feels kindness in their heart and wants to see these books in the hands of all of our visitors, and we would need at least another $300.
Okay, so As it stands right now, with the contribution that you have and the money that was in our budget, where do we stand financially right now?
4,500,
Okay,
4,500.
and
And to get 10,000 printed would be about 4,700. So and then additional 135. So let me just can you give me a minute? I'll pull up the estimate so that way I'm giving you the accurate. And I can send this to Chad and he can forward it on to you, but, let's see, this one is for 10,000 and the cost, with it, we also get a discount, we get $800, off. So the amount would be $4,623.31 plus $135, on top of that, for Miss Macy Knowles' fees to put the logos and QR codes.
So what's the total of those two figures?
Oh, you would do that to me, huh? I have to work it out. So 4,623.31 plus 135.
No, I'm sorry, I'm talking about your shortfall.
Okay, so the total would be $4,758, and we have 4,500, so that is $258 down that we don't have.
And so if, with that additional, that less than $300, you'd be able to order the
We
printing
can
of 10,000.
print them out today. We can get them ordered
Well,
today.
the Friends of Little Estero Island will give you we'll donate the money to MERTF to cover the
Thank
additional
you.
expense for the
Thank you,
10,000.
I appreciate that.
I'm sorry?
I appreciate that.
Oh, that's not a problem.
thank all
So,
the friends.
200 and, so it would be about $258, and, you would need to make the check out to, the town of Fort Myers Beach,
Okay, well,
MRF.
we'll just make it for an even $300 and I'll get it to Chad or whoever.
Thank you, appreciate it, so we'll get those
Okay.
printed out today, thank you,
Okay?
or ordered today. The drainage, storm drainage, do we have, or I'm really concerned because I've been walking up and down the streets that have them, and especially the one in front of my house is gurgling and loud gurgles. And when I looked into it, I realized that it's making those sounds because they're clogged. They either have roots in them or they've got sediment in it that is clogging it. And this is not the time to have clogged drainage, storm drains. I really would like the town to get out there and do one good cleaning of all the storm drains on the island, you know, especially before hurricane season. We're all on edge. We hope that we don't have another year like last year with 2 storms within 13 days where I had flooding in my house, and I've had to, you know, construct my house 3 times in the past couple years, and I'm just I can't handle it anymore. So I'm really leaning and hoping that the town will get out there and clean our storm drains. Thank you.
And that brings up a good question too, because I haven't really heard anything. The storm drainage system down on the south end of the island and all the new construction, all the new storm drains that were done along the Estero, like the ones in front of my yard, you can look inside them and they're still full of sand. Has anything ever been done to get the sand out of all the storm drain?
Absolutely, and we have a vac truck now, so I will, if there are issues, report them to our stormwater staff, and they will take a look.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, my understanding is the stormwater system has been cleaned out several times since Ian. It's just, we've had a lot of overwashes and.
But not since Milton or Helene.
I don't know if that's the case, but I will check with stormwater.
Okay, thank you.
I just had one.
I'm sorry, are you done?
Oh, I'm sure I can come up with some more stuff, but I'll go ahead and let it go to Mr. Sand.
I had just one item, the street lighting, I know has started, when is it gonna be completed?
I believe November.
Okay. Thank you.
I have nothing, Dave.
Okay. The only item I have, first of all, I was very sorry that the dolphin that was saved by several members passed away, and it was caught by in monofilament line. And I encourage everyone fishing to properly dispose of their monofilament line, because it is hazardous to all marine life, not just ours. Second item I wanted to say is, at our property on the 6,000 block, we have a turtle nest on the north edge of the property and a turtle nest on the south edge of the property. So, we're delighted to have the turtles, back at Island Winds. We've had nests before, and we're very happy to report that, so,
May I ask a question?
sure.
Okay, about the monofilament. I've been noticing a lot of fishermen have buoys out there with monofilament stretched out with holding like fish bait or something like that. I've been seeing a lot of that. Do we know, is that acceptable, or is that, you know, when you've got monofilament and, you know, fishing line, anything can get entangled into it. Children can get tangled into it. So I'm just wondering, is that allowed? I don't know if they're chumming. I don't know if they're just leaving their bait in the water. I'm not quite sure what it is, but have you noticed that, Chad?
I don't get out fishing as much as I'd like to.
I'm talking about right along the beach.
Okay, I have not
Is that allowed? Do you know?
to fish with monofilament or what?
No, to have a buoy with monofilament tie with like bait containers tied to monofilament to a buoy.
I'd have to reach out to FWC and understand exactly.
I
What
don't
you're
think there's
referring to.
anything preventing that.
That's just, you
To my
know,
knowledge.
monofilament that's just sort of dangling in the water where a child can get tangled, or an animal, you know.
Well,
it's just-
usually they keep it to anchor, to have an anchor for their bait bucket that has minnows or shrimp that's floating in the water.
So that is acceptable
It's,
by the beach.
as far as I know, yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Can
and
you still reach out and
If
Give
you
the-
can give me some sort of description, I'm not sure if I could accurately describe what you're referring to.
they're bait containers, red and white, and they've got slits in them,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what people hold their bait in, and then they're tied to monofilament and just floating, dangling in the water next to the beach, tied to buoys. Is that descriptive enough?
So it's not an actual like fishing gear apparatus, it's just
Yeah, just
to secure the-
containers.
they make,
I can ask.
Thank you.
okay, and that's all I had. So, that's the member items, staff update. Chad, you've been kind of the main show, but is there anything else you'd like to update us on?
Yeah, so just an update. Miss Eve gave us an update on sea turtle nests. We have 37 nests to date, 150 false crawls, 38 obstructed nesting attempts from the dredging pipe. We had 2 turtles that chose a sandy ramp to gain access landward of the pipe, and then crawled back over those same ramps to get back to the Gulf. So that's interesting.
I would actually like to add that one of those unsuccessful nesting was due to obstruction that I came across, which was a retaining wall.
Okay. We do have some escarpment forming in the south end, and some work to do on lighting before our hatching. So if I can encourage the public to please look at your properties. Right now, there's a lot of floodlights, even on the landward side, construction sites that are leaving a lot of bright lights on. Every property on the island is subject to the Lighting Standards Code and the Sea Turtle Conservation Code. If you are on the waterward side of Estero Boulevard, the Gulf side of Estero Boulevard, all of your lights should be amber. If they are directly visible from the beach, they should be in a fixture that directs those lights downward and shields that light source from the beach. If it's on the street side of a beach structure, then they still need to be amber, but don't necessarily need to be in a downward directed and shielded fixture, so as long as they meet the lumen exemption in the Lighting Standards Code.
Chad, I have to say, in all the years that I've been a permit holder and turtle time, the lights are, they're amazing. So many people are listening and turning off their lights and closing their drapes, and there are, some that are out there that aren't so great, but great job, thank you.
Yeah, from when I first came to Fort Myers Beach, first driving here, 5-6 years ago, at night, I was impressed at the community support, the number of people that do show their support and have the proper bulbs out. I think it's just a matter of, we have a lot of contractors and visitors and new works that are going up, and just getting past those hiccups and educating and helping them do the right thing for the sea turtles. We have a lot of lease turn chicks running around Mr. King's Beach, Councilman King's Beach right now. They're very cute. We've reached out to FWC law enforcement to give us some help down there maybe for July 4th. So hopefully they'll have a presence down there to mitigate any folks that want to try and launch fireworks down off of that beach. It's kind of been a problem in years past, so just trying to get ahead of that and mitigate any firework impacts just down on that Big Carlos Beach, where we have a lot of threatened species that are in a critical time of their life cycle. Also, I wanted to speak to the gentleman's questions regarding the canal dredging and where we're at. So we are working on a path forward for getting this funded. We've attempted FEMA funding and Florida legislator LAP grants, as well as WCIND, but qualifying or getting those fundings have not been successful to date. So we are proposing a new funding strategy, and it would be through a special assessment. But that is working through legal and staff right now, and we'll see if we have support from the community with regards to that. But it is it's a complicated process with a lot of work to do, including permitting and pre-construction work, just getting proper estimates to get how much volume we're looking at, and then being able to estimate cost to do the work that's needed for doing such a special assessment. There is an example of this from 2008, ordinances and resolutions that went out to fund the Laguna Channel dredging project. So we have a roadmap, and we're continuing to work with our town attorneys and Lee County County Manager's Office has given us some wisdom and advice on how to go about this, and we greatly appreciate that as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else that y'all have questions on?
No,
Have you noticed any problems with the lighting at all in the 8,000 blockers? It's been fine.
Yes, it's on my list to talk to those property owners.
Well, if you need any help, I'd be happy to talk to them.
Yes, sir.
just to echo on what you said, Chad, the Chris King, who is chair of the Anchorage Advisory, and I have reached out on various letters that you've been copied on, trying to go to different municipalities to try and get their best practices on the, how to manage the canal systems in their different municipalities, and as soon as we get it back, and you've asked to be shared on that correspondence, and we'll certainly bring that in, and once we have enough response back, I think we contacted 7 different municipalities at the direction of the mayor, and we will share it with the committee and what we found to determine, you know, if we can make a recommendation, and we may have to have a joint committee meeting with both committees and in a workshop to come up with, or we can do it separately and both submit them. Just echoing that.
Which 7?
I don't have the list in front of me. I know Cape Coral was one of them. I think we had, Bonita Springs, we had, Fort Lauderdale, there were, I can't remember all 7.
Marco Island is also,
I,
they're in the process
I-
of looking into it.
I cannot give you the list off the top of my head. So, and that was at the direction of the mayor at the last council meeting, so we
Thanks for
had
doing
to,
that.
had to take action prior to going in, so, as soon as we have some responses back, we'll share them with the rest of the committee.
Chad, I have a quick question. Has Surf Style been addressed about their lights? They have,
Yep, I've been, had several conversations with the district manager there. They have several businesses now here on the island, and, both the Santini Plaza sign has been brought to their attention, as well as the interior lighting that is, shining through Lynn Hall Park, off of OSC, has been brought to their attention, so they are working to come to compliance.
yeah, someone from Mars called me and said that they saw them, so, they're really, really bright.
Well, if you can see them from Mars, yeah.
Yeah, they're very bright.
I'd like to send a thank you note to Elon for making that possible.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Chad? Thank you. Okay,
Marshall Whiskers on
public
patrol.
staff update is done. We are now at the final public comment, if anyone would like to make a public comment. Seeing none, I'll close public comment. And that brings us to the MERTF Award. I would like to nominate one of our members, Rob Howell, and all of the people that worked and desperately trying to save the dolphin. It unfortunately didn't work, but they gave it their best effort, and that's the kind of commitment that embodies people getting involved in the environment, so that's my recommendation. Rob and his team trying to save the dolphins.
Okay, great.
I think that was a
Good
second.
nomination.
Okay. I'll make that motion then.
I'll second it.
Okay, made and seconded. Any discussion? All
I-
those,
He didn't give me a chance for discussion, although I know about the dolphin, very, very sad, but I've never heard of a committee member actually, nominating committee members. I mean, I guess it's, we can do whatever we want, I just
I-
never have heard of that.
I
Usually,
purposely singled out everyone that was involved in saving it rather than individually
yeah,
recognizing it, because there was a team of people, and I think they all deserve recognition for their work.
Yeah.
Not singling out Rob, although he was one of the main people, but I think it was, when you get a group of people that are trying to save an endangered animal, I think it's great, even though it didn't work out.
dolphins are in danger?
they're kind of, they're in everyone's heart, let me put it that way.
Well, obviously, this one was endangered.
Yes.
And
In danger.
Yeah, that's a good point.
that's right,
Yeah.
so. Any other discussion? Okay, for the group, for the dolphin saving group, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries, okay, thank you. All right, agenda for next meeting, before we do that, I would like to, ask the committee members here, most of the advisory committees are taking the July off, as is the town council. And I would, think that, the July break, last year, I believe we took off in July, and so I would like to get everyone's thoughts about, taking July off in recognition of Fourth of July, summer months, town council taking a summer recess and allowing the town to move into their new facility so that Chad has time to go to his new desk and finish the project, so on and so forth. So, how does everyone feel about a July recess?
I'm fine with that.
I'm
Sounds
fine.
good.
Okay,
I also just received an alert that the town hall location change begins June 17th.
June 17th.
Yep.
So that means in August, we'll be meeting in the new digs.
I think they're saying to Bay Oaks on the June 17th.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
But hopefully by the August meeting, yes.
We'll be in the
Intent.
new digs. So,
Oh, I
Um,
see. Okay.
we, setting the agenda from what we discussed today, we'd like to see if we could get our engineer coming in
Yes.
and addressing the, group. Regarding the Mulholland Award, if the council gives us permission, I would like to have authority to, go to our, public information officer and have her put the nomination papers out. Is that okay with everyone? I don't think we need a
Yeah,
motion
fine.
on that, we've already voted on it. So when we come back in August, we can start looking at those. And should be wrapping up beach renourishment. By then, Chad can give us the highlights and lowlights.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have plenty of plantings.
And we'll see your mug.
And less
On
gray.
mud.
Your mug.
Oh, yeah, on mud.
Less
And we
gray.
can see if we can get,
Less gray.
Less gray, less gray.
and we'll see if we can get some dates for a hazard, disposal.
Yeah, I did get an email back from Justin and got another contact, but they said that they were here during February, which I wasn't aware of, and then they have another date scheduled for August.
Okay,
So if we want something sooner than that, I don't know, they're of the opinion, we have up to 4. They're of the opinion that twice a year is enough for a good turnout. But we can, whenever I talk to the other gentleman, I can reach out to you and, see which way we wanna kick that.
okay, well, if you didn't know about it, I'm pretty certain there were a lot of people, not going to an expletive delete, that
Right.
didn't know about it on the island. So I think if they're coming in August, we need to advertise, get it out in front of people,
Contractors via.
contractors, everybody, and let them know.
Yes,
So,
sir.
and then we can, depending on the date, we can either, if it's, we usually meet by the second Wednesday. If the date is after our meeting, we can see what the results were. If it's before the meeting, we could certainly, or if it's after the meeting, we could certainly advertise it. If it's before, we can discuss the turnout and what we can do better for the next one.
Yes, sir.
Okay? That's all I had for August. Does anyone else wanna add anything?
So you're looking at August 13th?
Yeah.
Yes,
I may be gone with a doctor's appointment, but I'm not sure.
okay.
And I may be gone as well. It's my birthday, so.
Well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. All right, August 13th it is. All right, and with that, I'll accept a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So move.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, everybody. I need my